Okay, so actually, yeah, to begin with, what's your professional background and what role are you currently occupying?
Yeah, I started my career, I'm from Peru. I started my career in Credit Bank of Peru. I started there as a treasury risk analyst. So basically, was mostly involved in the risk management of the trading portfolios in that time. Also liquidity management, like ratios like the LCR and also the NSFR that also that we study in the program. So that was very key in my career. Uh, After that, I also went to the treasury, more the asset and liability management area in Credit Bank of Peru, the same company. And there I was managing the banking book of the bank, managing the hedges of the bank, accounting hedges like the fair value hedges, cash flow hedges, and also doing a lot of transfer pricing for the wholesale and corporate banking units. So that's basically where I started. Right now, I'm currently working at Citibank, in that also in the Treasury division. I'm mostly focused in a combination between technology and transfer pricing in my current position as a vice president there at Citibank.
Understood. Wow. Okay, that's yeah, that's an extremely varied set of tasks and roles that you've occupied in your career. In which case, and how did you hear about the BTRM program?
Well, I think that BTRM is very known. I remember I heard there from the senior managers in Great Bank of Peru when I was working there in 2019, back in the day. So yeah, it's a very known program. It's very worldwide known. Also, Professor Murad Chaudhry is very like recognized around the world. I still use his book from time to time, the principles of banking and also other books that he wrote. So yeah, like it's very, very, very renowned program. I think a lot of people from, at least from my country, from Peru, did the BTRM also, or are in a way to in a way to do it. So I think it's very globally renowned. It's a program that is well structured, so it's very useful for really any treasury kind of organization that you may have. Maybe because every country has different rules, but the program is can be like has a lot of capacity, ability to be organized to the structure that you have in your particular bank, particular company, and particular country too. So I think that is very important.
Thanks very much for those words. And what would you say out of all of that? What was the most useful and practical aspects of the BTRM program? Um, I suppose to the role that you were occupying at the time in Peru. So when you were going through the program, what was most useful about it? What was most applied about it?
Well, I would say that liquidity kind of side because Basel III we got that this sorry, these two new liquidity ratios, the NSFR and also the LCR. For us, that was key for liquidity management. Also, in terms of capital management, how to analyze the strategies that the Treasury would do, like for example, investing in Treasury bonds from the local government, also from the U.S., in order to analyze how that will impact the capital of the bank. I think that was key. Also, that was useful. How to analyze yield curves to assess transfer pricing for different kind of products like deposits, checking accounts, savings accounts, and non-maturity deposits, also time deposits. Some contingency lines are also used in the bank and are used globally. So how to do the transfer pricing of those more like difficult products, like not well renowned products. I think that was also key in the program. But I would say overall, a regulatory landscape that we were living at that time with the new Basel III rules. So I think that was key. But in terms of, I think, overall liquidity management, capital management, also the hedging of the risk of the bank for that structural position, I think that was also uh, very, very, very good material in the BTRM. Yeah.
Superb. And in terms of your current role with Citi, I mean, you did the BTRM program 6 years ago. So can you remember aspects of the program that you're utilizing in your current role?
Yeah, currently, well, what I'm doing is like mostly focused in transfer pricing.
Okay.
So, well, you have products that sometimes have maturity dates and sometimes they don't have maturity dates. So you have to know how to analyze the average life of those products. So I think it's very important, at least that's what I learned from the program, to know how those products work in order to, okay, this is a correct transfer pricing model that you should be using to measure the cost and also the revenue to other units of the bank. Um, I think that's currently what I'm using like in a daily basis. I think that's very important, but also how the bank works, right? So as we have a more like global company connected with several countries around the world, like in every region. You have to know like how every region works. So in my case, at least from the point of view of LATAM, I kind of know how Peru works, how Chile works, how different countries from Central America, and also the Asian kind of side that, for example, Australia, Singapore, etc. That they have like different rules, but at least with the help of the BTRM, I managed to solve each of those and learn from each of those countries and try to make a global framework, but also like based in what we learn in the BTRM. So I think that is key because you always like kind of know like like a general framework that should be the BTRM, and then you apply it specifically to each country in which you are like looking at a problem, right? I think that's very important in
Yeah.
the case of treasury management. Yeah.
It's great that you have so much kind of international coverage as well. That's amazing. And if you, I mean, what kind of advice in which case would you have for future delegates considering the BTRM program?
For future students, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like the more like the practical side. I still see, for example, there's a forum in the BTRM. I have professionals around the world that if you have like any specific question in a general way, people help you. Also, Professor Murat uh, usually replies to every doubt that the students or the former students that already have the veteran certification ask. So I think in a general framework, I think also to how can I say like have a leverage that network that you have in the VTRN. So I think that's kind of key. But if you were a student right now, I would say like ask as many questions as you can. Try to take advantage of also the alumni, also the people that you study with. Sometimes it depends on what you choose when you choose the classes or you choose also the self-study. But if there is because they have a forum, so you can ask really anybody if you have any doubts of a specific subject within the program. But I think it's a very complete program. You have liquidity, capital, you have yield curve, you have fixed income, hedging of the risk of the bank, FX risk, interest rate risk. So I think take advantage of that and take advantage of the professors of each subject. I think that's key to learn, right? Because you want to learn and take that later in your career. I think that's very important.
That's great advice. And listen, thanks very much, Jair. I really appreciate it. And good luck for the rest of your career as well.
Thank you, Jeff.